Hey, what's up everyone? Good to be back with you guys again. Feels like it's been a minute since I've seen you, but thanks so much for the support on the past couple of videos. It's been really exciting watching the channel grow and get close to 1,000 subscribers. And speaking of that, if you guys are new around here, definitely consider subscribing. But with that being said, today I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the news sort of surrounding the handheld gaming space and kind of what that means for the future of handheld gaming. So in terms of gaming handhelds, there's a couple of devices that are going to be coming out in the next couple of months and next couple of years. I think probably it's more likely that we're going to see these things coming out in the next couple of years though. Perhaps the first one is the only one that we'll actually see this year, and that's going to be the AYANEO Next II. So if you guys don't know, this device was first announced in 2022 actually, but it still hasn't been released, and I think part of that's down to the sheer ambition that AYANEO have put into this device. So they've marketed it as the world's first handheld with a discrete GPU. So originally they announced this with an Intel Alder Lake option or a Ryzen 6000 version. But since they've revised their specs, so assuming that this device is going to be coming out soon, specs that we can expect are going to be a Ryzen 7000 processor and what they refer to as a laptop grade GPU. So now I don't really know exactly what that means, but I think that they're probably looking at something along the lines of a Radeon RX 7000S for the Next II. Also, it's going to have probably a larger than 8-inch screen, so it's going to be pretty on par with the Lenovo Legion GO in terms of your mobile experience there. I think it also has some kind of detachable controllers and other sort of modularity like that, so it's definitely, kind of competing for that type of thing, but with the dedicated GPU, it's going to be quite a bit more powerful, so it'll be really exciting to see how that plays out and if we actually get to see that before the end of the year, or if it's going to be delayed again to 2025. But again, I'm going to be leaving links to everything that I talk about down below, so that way if you want to check things out for yourself, you can absolutely go ahead and do that. But as we were just speaking about the Legion GO, although it hasn't been out for even a year already, there's actually already talk of a successor, and I feel like that's kind of always how it is in the tech space. Once you have something that comes out, immediately everybody's on to the next thing. But personally, I don't think that we're going to be seeing a GO 2 anytime this year, and probably we won't even see one next year, but we'll just have to wait and see. As for specs, obviously, again, we don't really know very much, but I think it's pretty safe to say that when the GO 2 does actually release, that it's probably going to be having some sort of an AMD Zen 5 chip. I'd expect it to feature the same 8.8-inch display because it's been selling pretty well, and I think people have been really receptive to the larger screen size because it's more immersive. But with that being said, who really knows? And, maybe they'll even make a smaller version or something like that for those who felt that the original was a little bit too chunky for them. Although, again, it's still too early to tell, but I'd love to see them put in some extra work. Perhaps maybe even make 2 sets of controllers, one for those who want to have the device in FPS mode primarily, and another for those of us who just want to play with a standard controller layout, because the back buttons on the current Legion GO are a bit weird, and that kind of results in a lot of accidental presses, and it's just kind of not really that great of an experience when you're coming from a Steam Deck or you're coming from an Xbox Elite controller or something like that. It's just very odd. So I could definitely see Lenovo selling additional controller modules for us to buy, and even having some other modular sorts of accessories. But I think the Legion GO has definitely got a lot of things going for it, so GO 2 would be really exciting. Though GO 2, again, is pretty far out, I think, in terms of release date. It sounds like the Asus ROG Ally X is going to be hitting the market quite a bit sooner, probably by the end of the year or maybe early next year. And the Ally X sounds like it's not going to be a really massive upgrade, but it is going to have a couple of nice features that are going to improve the original Ally's performance. So some of those features are going to be a larger battery, perhaps more RAM, maybe bigger SSD options, and I think even more importantly than all of those other upgrades, and something that people would be really excited to see, is if they manage to fix the now infamous SD card problems. So if you guys are at all familiar with the current Ally, you'll probably know that from day one, users have reported a pretty massive design flaw with the placement of the SD card being way too close to the thermal system, which resulted in the SD cards being destroyed. So hopefully we'll see the Ally X fix these issues, along with bringing us some additional features and other things like that as sort of a mid-cycle refresh to the Ally. Asus also have plans to release a totally next generation handheld, which they're going to be calling the Ally 2, but nothing is really known about it at the moment. So I suspect that, again, it's going to be probably similar to the Lenovo Legion GO 2 in terms of its future specs, as well as its release date. So finally, I wanted to talk about the potential for a Steam Deck 2. So as we all are aware, the Deck received its mid-cycle refresh in late 2023 with the Deck OLED. Now, certainly that was a pretty big shock to myself and pretty much everybody else out there who thought that we weren't going to be seeing another Deck at all for the next couple of years. But it was a pretty nice and welcome improvement over the original. And even though the Deck OLED wasn't really a massive upgrade in terms of specs, it did increase the battery, it increased storage options, and most obviously gave us that really nice OLED display with a 90 Hz refresh rate, which was way better than the 60 Hz LCD panel of the original Deck. But again, I can't really imagine us seeing an entirely new Steam Deck, certainly within the year. I think probably we're going to be seeing one maybe late 2025 or late 2026. Again, as I feel is the case with a lot of these handhelds and handheld news in general, the release date is not going to be anytime soon. So for specs, again, it's really anyone's guess. But if the original Deck is anything to go off of for what we could expect for the next generation one, then I think that they're probably going to be working pretty closely with AMD, and when AMD makes a generational leap in terms of their mobile graphics, then we'll hear rumors of Valve working with them again to design a custom APU similar to what we have in the current Steam Deck. And since the Steam Deck was really the first truly mainstream PC handheld, I think that there's a lot that Valve could do to improve the design in the future, because they have so much more experience now than all of the other competitors that have come out to market, like Asus and Lenovo. And so I think that they're in a pretty good place. I mean, they started out really strong. They have arguably the best ergonomics of any of the handhelds out right now. So, you know, I think that there's only a couple of little refinements that they could do, and I think the Steam Deck would be that much better. So probably the most important thing that I think would be nice to see with the next generation Deck would be having a built-in kickstand. Perhaps detachable controllers or something like that, or other sorts of modular devices that could help you to upgrade the Steam Deck and also serve as, you know, extra things that Valve could sell, you know, just to make a little bit of extra money on the Steam Deck. But I think even more than that, what would be really exciting would be to see a next generation Steam controller with a more modern type of layout, something similar to how the Steam Deck is currently. I think the Steam Deck controller is absolutely incredible. It's super comfortable. The buttons are great. If they were to make a standalone controller, I think it would sell out immediately. So I think that would be a really great thing to see alongside a next generation Deck. But with that being said, I think we'll end the video here. Again, I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I look forward to interacting with you guys in the comments down below. So, are there any handhelds that you guys are particularly excited about? Do you have any thoughts on what you'd like to hear me cover next? Leave those thoughts and comments down below. And while you're down there, definitely remember to drop a like and leave a subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends. We're definitely getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you guys as a part of the community. But with that being said, until next time, later.